When King Nebuchadnezzar carried the children of Judah into the exile of Babylon, the remnant of the children of Judah came to Jeremiah and inquired of the Lord whether they should go into Egypt or not. But the Lord warned them through Jeremiah that they should not go into Egypt. But they rebelled against the Lord. Joanna, the son of Kareah, and the captains of the forces, they took the people, including Jeremiah and his scribe Baruch, and the two daughters of King Zedekiah, and went into Egypt. From a biblical perspective, the story of Jeremiah, his scribe Baruch, and the king's daughters ended on a positive note, as God had previously warned the Judaic remnant against going into Egypt. Later, he explicitly declared that the entire group would die in Egypt, except those who escaped. Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 12 to 14. Obviously, Jeremiah and his party were not in rebellion against God. Therefore, there is no doubt they escaped God's final judgment on this Jewish remnant in Egypt. Verse 28 of that Jeremiah 44 indicates that a small number of them did in fact escape Egypt and return to Palestine. But Jeremiah's mysterious commission was to take him and his royal party elsewhere. For he was to plant one of Zedekiah's daughters in a land already well populated by Israelites, the British Isles. Danites and Phoenician traders had explored and colonized the Isles back in the days of Solomon. In fact, it is probable that the Danites had already settled the Isles back in the time of Israel's judges, as the tribe is criticized by Deborah, who governed Israel some 200 years before David, for being away at the sea during a protracted local conflict, according to the book of Judges chapter 5 verse 17. Later, just prior to the fall of Samaria in about 722 BC, many more Danites and Israelites from other tribes set out by sea to avoid the Assyrian captivity. Naturally, they would have settled in areas already dominated by Israelites, the Iberian Peninsula and the British Isles. Some of the earliest Danite settlements in the Isles were in Ireland. As these colonies became more developed, ruling class of Danite kings arose. Eventually, however, these kings were superseded in Ireland by a Milesian line of kings made up of royalty from the Jewish line of Zerah. Don't forget, Zerah was one of the twin sons of Judah by Tamar. 1 Chronicles chapter 2 verse 4 and verse 6. This royal line developed when Danites and Judah-Zerite refugees settled parts of ancient Greece prior to Israel's enslavement while in Egypt. This Milesian line eventually made its way to Ireland. Jeremiah's mission was to join the throne of David to the Irish throne through the marriage of Princess Stephi, the daughter of Zedekiah, to an heir of Milesian line, a prince named Ikaid. So this is how Jeremiah was to plant a tender one in what would eventually become a high mountain, the Israelite birthright kingdom of Great Britain. From this point, we must look into historical writings of ancient Ireland, which revealed that Jeremiah did indeed travel via Spain, Iberia, to the Isles, with his scribe Baruch and a certain Princess Stephi. The Irish are known for their dedication to recording their national histories, which has been illustratively handed down in songs, poems, tales, and legends. Concerning Jeremiah and Princess Stephi, their arrival in the Isles is well documented in the annals of the Irish histories. Archaeologist Raymond Capt has concisely described Jeremiah's planting of the Davidic throne in Ireland. According to Capt, Irish record tells of a particular sheep of the Iberian Danaan coming to Ireland in about the year 583 BC, a mere 3 years after the fall of Jerusalem into the exile of Babylon. The sheep was of Danaan origin, meaning it was linked to a particular group of Danites who had earlier settled in Greece. It came to Ireland by the way of Iberia, Spain. As the ship approached the northeast coast of Ireland, it stopped at a place near the area known today as Carrickfagos. Though the story varies, it is clear as to the ship passenger. An aged Hebrew patriarch called Olamfedla and his attendant named Barak as the spelled, and an eastern king's daughter named Tephi. Irish tradition asserts that Olamfedla was the prophet Jeremiah. Appropriately, the name Olamfedla in Irish language means honored prophet. Baruch, his scribe, can clearly be identified by the variation of his name. The royal princess Stephi is identified in the archives as daughter and heiress of King Zedekiah. Then, about her sister Scotta, it was said she remained behind in Spain. Concerning Ikaid, was right, one Ireland's ruler was a man named Ikaid Hamon. Ikaid is Irish for the Greek name Ekais, and the term Hamon is the title, meaning chief of the landsmen. A king. He was a Milesian living among the Tuatha De Danann, His genealogy traces back to Chako. Chako is one of the sons of Zerah, according to the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 2 verse 6 and 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 31. And this Chako is identified in history as Cecrops or Chako, the Zerah founder of Athens of Greece. It is also said that he planted a royal dynasty in Ulster, Northern Ireland. So this is how Tephi, heiress to the Davidic throne, married into an existing Jewish royal line, which had been ruling for some time over Israelites settled in Ireland. As the newly crowned queen of Ireland, Tephi brought the very authority of the throne of David to Ekai's reign. According to tradition, Ekai's coronation took place in about 580 BC, 6 years after the fall of Jerusalem. Ultimately, through their offspring, the tender twig would become a majestic cedar, according to Ezekiel chapter 17, verse 22 to 24. A new dynasty in its own, through which the throne of David will be perpetuated. So, in keeping with God's sure promises, the throne of David have remained active, ruling over Israelites throughout all generations. The book of Ezekiel chapter 21 verse 27 made us to understand that God will overturn the throne 3 times to the final destination, and there it will remain until the rightful owner comes, which is Jesus Christ, who will come to inherit it. Now, if you want to know the 3 places where the throne was overturned before the final destination, and the role of the throne of David in the gospel of the kingdom, the gospel of Christ, follow this video, follow the next video step by step. You will understand everything. You will see in detail the role of the throne of David in the gospel of Christ.